Level 1. The first story. You're 24 years old. You're a journalist. Well, you're something that looks like a journalist if you strip away the salary, the protection, and any reasonable expectation of retirement. You work for a local newspaper that pays so little your mom still leaves food in Tupperware containers on your doorstep like you never moved out. Technically, you moved out. Technically. Your desk is a plastic table in a newsroom that smells like burnt coffee and underpaid ambition. You cover the crime beat. Murders, kidnappings, shootouts, cartel messages. Every morning, the editor throws you an address like he's flipping a coin. There was a body found in such and such neighborhood. Go get me something. You go. You always go. Not because you're brave, but because you have no choice. Brave journalists are the ones who can choose not to go. You simply can't choose. You see your first real dead body on a Tuesday at 7 in the morning, while he's lying next to a utility pole with a cartel message written on cardboard in marker placed on top of him. The spelling is terrible. The intent is crystal clear. You take photos. Your hands are shaking. The veteran photographer next to you doesn't even blink. He tells you, the first time always hurts. The second time, not as much. By the third time, you'll be hungry afterward. He's right. It's horrifying that he's right. You start noticing patterns. The bodies aren't random. There's a logic behind the terror. The areas where corpses appear line up with distribution routes. The cartel messages mention the same nicknames over and over. The timing suggests coordination. You start connecting dots nobody asked you to connect. Your editor wants a 200-word story. You want to understand the whole map. That curiosity is the most dangerous thing you have. More than any weapon, more than any enemy. Because curiosity is going to take you to places people don't come back from. You publish your first serious investigation. 3 pages on how the cartel controls public transportation in the city. Who collects the protection fees? How much the bus drivers pay? Where the money goes? You don't use real names. You use anonymous sources. You're careful. But in a city where the cartel has eyes on every corner, being careful is like wearing a paper bulletproof vest. The gesture is nice, but the protection is zero. The day after the story runs, you find an envelope on your desk. No return address. Inside is a photo of you leaving your house. On the back, written in the same awful handwriting from the cartel messages, a single word. Careful. You don't show it to anyone. You put it in your drawer. You don't sleep that night. But the next morning, you go back to the newsroom. Because that's what you do. Because if you stop, they win. And because rent doesn't get paid with fear. Subscribe before the cartel sends you your own envelope. Level 2. The investigation. You're 27 years old. You no longer cover the crime beat. Now you're the uncomfortable journalist. The one who asks the questions nobody wants to answer. The one who publishes what everyone knows, but nobody dares to write. You specialized in the cartel's financial structure, money laundering, shell companies, properties registered in the names of farmers who can't read. Violence sells newspapers, but money is what really hurts them. You can publish that 20 people were killed and the cartel doesn't flinch. You publish that their laundering network runs through a pharmacy chain and the next day, people are following you. Your main source is an accountant who worked for the organization for 6 years. He's terrified. He meets you in a different coffee shop every time. He shows up with a cap, glasses. Paranoia turned into a wardrobe. He gives you documents, financial statements, fake invoices, property sale contracts that change hands every 3 months. It's a journalistic goldmine. It's also a walking death sentence for him and for you. You publish the series, 5 installments, each one more detailed than the last. The first on the front companies, the second on the properties, the third on the politicians who receive money, the fourth on the bankers who look the other way, on the fifth on the whole system, the criminal ecosystem that runs like a parallel economy more efficient than the official one. The newspaper gets more readers than ever. It also gets more threats than ever. Your editor calls you into his office. He has the look of a man at a funeral. We got a call. They say if you publish one more, they're coming for you in the paper. The call is not an empty threat. In your country, empty threats don't exist. Oh, every threat has someone behind it willing to follow through. Your editor gives you two options: stop or keep going at your own risk. You choose to keep going. Not because you're a hero. Heroes are people who choose to be heroes. You simply don't know how to do anything else. The consequences come fast. One morning, your car shows up with all 4 tires slashed. No witnesses, no cameras. Then a call to your cell from an unknown number. A calm voice that describes exactly what clothes you're wearing at that moment. You look around. You don't see anyone, but someone sees you. Someone always sees you. You change your routine. You don't leave at the same time. You don't take the same route. You stop going to your usual places. Your social life drops to 0. Your friends stop calling, not because they don't care about you, but because being close to you is a risk nobody wants to take. The loneliness of a threatened journalist is a special kind of loneliness. You're not alone because people reject you. You're alone because people want to stay alive. The accountant disappears. On a Monday, he doesn't show up to the coffee shop. Not Tuesday either. Not ever. 3 weeks later, they find his body on a rural road. He showed signs of torture. His fingernails had been ripped out. His fingers broken one by one. The fingers that signed the documents you published. You can't help feeling that those broken fingers are partly your responsibility. That guilt sets up camp in your chest like a tenant who never pays rent but never leaves. Level 3. The first attempt. You're 30 years old. You're driving at 6 in the morning. It's still dark. A black SUV pulls up next to you at a red light. You see the flash before you hear the shot. The passenger window explodes. You feel something hot in your arm. You floor it. The SUV follows you for 3 blocks, 4, 5. Another shot hits the trunk. You turn down a street you know. They don't know it. You lose them. You arrive at a private clinic with a hole in your arm and another one in your soul. The attack makes every news outlet. For 48 hours, you are the news. You're interviewed. International organizations call you. They offer solidarity, press releases, hashtags. Digital solidarity is as comforting as a paper blanket. It looks nice, but it doesn't keep you warm. By the 3rd day, you're no longer news. The news cycle chewed you up and spit you out the way it does with everything. Now you're the journalist who got shot at and is still alive. Until he isn't. The government assigns you protection. 2 bodyguards who make less than a waiter. A bulletproof vest that weighs like your sins. An armored SUV that was armored at the same shop that armors the cartel's SUVs. The irony is thick enough to cut with scissors. Your bodyguards become your shadow. They go everywhere with you. The grocery store, the newsroom, your mom's house on Sundays. Your mom offers them coffee and cooks them food. She treats the men who protect you from dying like guests at a dinner party. The normalization of danger in journalists' families is a phenomenon no psychologist has studied enough. You start learning the statistics. In your country, more than 150 journalists have been killed in the last 2 decades. Most of those cases were never solved. Impunity is so high that filing a complaint about a threat is like shouting into a void. The sound comes out, but no one catches it. The case files pile up on the desks of people who have orders not to act. The journalist protection system is a bloated bureaucracy designed to look like it protects. But protection has a side effect nobody warned you about. It turns you into a prisoner. You can't go where you want. You can't stay out late. You can't have a normal date. You can't walk down the street without feeling that every person who passes is a potential threat. Your freedom, the very thing you were defending with your work, evaporates precisely because you did your work. The cartel doesn't need to kill you. It just needs to lock you inside your own fear. And it's working. Subscribe. Your support is the only armor that doesn't expire. Level 4. The Media War. You're 32 years old. The cartel changes strategy. They're no longer just threatening you. Now they attack you where it hurts most, your credibility. Social media accounts appear that accuse you of working for the rival cartel. They publish manipulated photos of you. They invent stories about bank accounts that don't exist. They say your investigation was paid for by the enemy. That you're not a journalist, but a political operative. That your dead accountant was actually your accomplice. The cartel's disinformation machine is more sophisticated than anyone imagines. They have social media managers, bots, farms of fake accounts, paid influencers who repeat the message like parrots wearing gold rings. In the digital age, the cartel figured out that discrediting someone is cheaper than killing them and sometimes more effective. A dead person generates outrage. A discredited journalist generates indifference. And indifference is crime's best ally. People start to doubt. Readers who supported you now comment, "What if it's true that he's on the payroll?" Doubt is a slow poison. It doesn't need evidence, just repetition. Repeat a lie 1,000 times and it becomes a legitimate question. Repeat it 10,000 times and it becomes popular truth. Your newspaper starts feeling economic pressure. Advertisers pull out. Not because they believe the accusations, but because they don't want trouble. Money is cowardly by nature. Your editor tells you the situation is unsustainable, that they need you to lower your profile, to let things cool down, to cover something else, sports, culture, anything that doesn't involve someone wanting to blow up the newsroom. You resign, not because you want to, but because staying means putting everyone else at risk. You start a digital outlet, just you. From your laptop, on no newsroom, no photographer, no editor, just you and your pathological obsession with publishing what nobody wants to read. Your outlet has 3,000 followers in the first month. It's ridiculous compared to the millions that any cooking influencer has. But those 3,000 read every word. And among them are prosecutors, federal agents, and international journalists who start amplifying your work. The cartel notices you didn't shut up. That you changed platforms, but not your message. That you're now harder to control because you have no boss, no office, no fixed routine. You're an information sniper firing from positions that change every day, and that infuriates them more than anything you've published before. Level 5. The Siege. You're 35 years old. Your life is a permanent security protocol. You change addresses every 3 months. You use burner phones. You don't post photos with geolocation. You don't say where you are. You don't say where you're going. Your closest friends don't know your current address. Your own mother communicates with you through a phone you change every 2 weeks. You've received 14 documented death threats, 3 assassination attempts. You've been shot at. You've been followed. They planted a bomb in a car that wasn't yours but was parked next to yours. The message was clear. We can reach you whenever we want. The fact that you're still alive is our decision, not yours. But you keep publishing. Your digital outlet has grown. Now you have a small team of 4 reporters who work from their homes, each one in a different city. They investigate the cartel's penetration into state institutions, bought judges, military officers on the payroll, cops who work half their shift for the government and half for the cartel, politicians who receive campaign funding in cash, in suitcases, delivered in shopping mall parking lots like a bad movie. Except it isn't a movie. Your latest investigation is the most dangerous. You discovered the connection between the cartel and a senior government official. Someone with the power to move pieces on the institutional board. Someone who signs arrest warrants that are never executed and files away case files that should be in court. You have documents, you have recordings, you have witnesses. You have everything you need to publish the story that could shake the whole system. You also have everything you need to get yourself killed. Your lawyer tells you to publish. Your bodyguard tells you not to publish. Your mom tells you to leave the country. Your therapist, the third one because the previous 2 stopped seeing you once they found out what you do for a living, tells you that you have PTSD, generalized anxiety, and a depressive episode that explains why you haven't slept more than 4 hours a night for the past 6 months. You publish. The reaction is nuclear. The official denies everything. The cartel issues a statement, a cartel message directed specifically at you, taped to the wall of a bridge 3 blocks from where you used to live 6 months ago. It includes your full name, your date of birth, your mother's name, the name of your nephew's school. The message ends with a line that burns itself into you like an internal tattoo. Journalists get buried too. Subscribe. Every subscription is one more witness that silence cannot erase. Level 6. The interior exile. You're 37 years old. You didn't leave the country? You could have. You were offered asylum in 3 countries, protection fellowships, residencies for threatened journalists in European cities where the greatest danger is being overcharged for a cup of coffee. But you stayed, not out of heroism, out of stubbornness, out of the absurd conviction that if you leave, they win. Oh, and if you stay, you at least break even. You live in a kind of internal exile. You're in your country, but you can't inhabit it. You can't go to a movie theater. You can't sit in a park. You can't go to your cousin's wedding. You can't take your nephew to a game. Your country became a prison you have the key to, but can't use because on the other side of the door, someone is waiting. Your health deteriorates. You smoke too much. You eat badly. You sleep worse. Constant cortisol is destroying your body from the inside. You're 37 years old, and your cardiologist tells you your heart looks like it belongs to a 50-year-old. Chronic stress kills slowly, but it kills. The cartel doesn't need to shoot you if your own body is doing the job. You've lost relationships. Girlfriends who left when they understood that being with you means being in the crosshairs. Friends who drifted away for their own safety. Family members who love you but love you from a distance. The loneliness of the threatened journalist becomes something deeper than loneliness. It's an existential isolation where you're surrounded by people who admire you from afar, but nobody wants to be by your side up close. But your work has impact. The official you exposed is under investigation. 2 of the money launderers you documented were arrested. A network of shell companies was dismantled because of your reporting. International organizations cite your work. You've won awards that get displayed at ceremonies where everyone applauds your courage and then goes home to their safe houses while you go back to your bunker with your bodyguard. Awards are the ultimate paradox of investigative journalism. They celebrate you for doing something that is killing you. They give you a trophy and a round of applause, but they don't give you the one thing you actually need: security. All awards are flowers on the grave of someone who's still alive. Beautiful, but useless to the person receiving them. Level 7. The ambush. You're 39 years old. It's a Thursday. You're leaving an interview. Your bodyguard is ahead in another vehicle. You're in the back with your driver. At an intersection, your bodyguard's SUV stops at a red light. A motorcycle approaches on your right. Time slows down. In that way, it only slows down when your brain knows something terrible is about to happen. The shots come from 3 directions. The motorcycle, an SUV that materialized out of nowhere on the left, and a shooter positioned in a nearby building. It's a professional ambush, coordinated, with crossfire designed to leave no way out. Your driver floors it. Your bodyguard returns fire. The armored glass of your SUV takes 7 hits, 7 spiderwebs of shattered glass that are 7 times you should have died. You survive. Your bodyguard is wounded. 2 of the attackers are killed. The rest flee. In total, the confrontation lasts 43 seconds. 43 seconds that split your life into a before and after as definitive as an axe blow. In the hospital, while they check you for bruises and glass fragments, you think with a clarity that only comes from brushing up against death. This is not going to stop. It's never going to stop. You can change your house, your car, your bodyguard, your city. You can change your name if you want. But as long as you keep publishing, they're going to keep trying. And they only need to get it right once. You need to dodge it every single time. The ambush makes international headlines. Your name appears in media around the world. Presidents issue statements. Human rights organizations demand an investigation. Social media floods with temporary solidarity. And you're lying in a hospital bed staring at the ceiling thinking that 43 seconds is all that separates life from nothing. Level 8. The decision. You're 40 years old. You're sitting in an apartment that isn't yours, in a city that isn't yours. You're wearing a bulletproof vest under your shirt. It's August. It weighs 7 pounds. The heat is unbearable, but you put it on every morning like a survival ritual. You have a decision to make. The investigation in your hands connects the cartel to the highest levels of institutional power. Names, dates, amounts. Everything documented with a solidity that would make any honest prosecutor cry if any were left. If you publish, the system shudders. But your life is worth less than a coin tossed into a wishing fountain. And not just yours, your team's, your sources, your family's. You think about your mother, who no longer knows where you live. About your 9-year-old nephew who had to change schools because his uncle writes articles. You think about the journalists who came before you. The ones who published and paid with their lives. The ones who stayed silent and paid with their dignity. There is no good option. There are only options with different kinds of pain. You publish, because that's what you are. Not a hero, not a martyr. A stubborn person with a conviction that weighs more than the vest. The truth matters even when telling it costs you everything. The story goes live on a Friday at 6 in the morning. By 7, your phone won't stop ringing. By 8, the international outlets are running it. By 9, the government issues a lukewarm statement. By 10, the cartel goes silent. And that silence is what scares you the most. Because when the cartel speaks, it threatens. When it goes silent, it acts. You watch the screen. The numbers climb. Every click is someone who now knows. And you're sitting there in your bulletproof vest, wondering how much longer you'll be around to watch the truth spread. This is what it feels like to be the cartel's #1 target. A clock you can't see, but whose ticking you hear every night. Freedom and prison at the same time. And tomorrow, you get up. You put on the vest, you open your laptop, and you write. Because the day nobody does, the cartel won't need bullets. It will have already won.